80s caliber. If only it was that simple. Take a listen to this from Kyrie.
10 seconds left. 1 point game. Who's shooting? You Kyrie, KD?
Depends on who's hot. I don't see it as anything other than that. Like 1-3 pick and roll, or it's an ISO for either one of us, or it's something great for our team. One thing I've always been comfortable with is, I felt like I was the best option on every team I played for, down the stretch. This is the first time in my career where I could look down and be like, that make that shot too.
Oh, a shot at LeBron, perhaps? Sure seemed like it. Well, Kyrie heard the backlash, said he was throwing shade, and responded later in the day. Listen to this.
Why must it always be brother against brother? Why? If I'm addressing anyone, I'll say their name. Come on, y'all. Don't listen to the false narratives. Let people live their lives. It's just a game. Talk about the art, talk about the sport. You talk openly, you talk freely. But because we live in a clickbait society, it becomes something bigger.
All right, we are now joined by Chris Broussard. Broussard, what do you make of Kyrie's comments?
Look, Kyrie can say, he has a right to say whatever he wants. The earth is flat. Christmas shouldn't be a holiday. Whatever he wants to say. And he can say, I have no problem with him saying, I've always believed I was the best option at the end of a game. He's got the guts. He's got the skill. He's got the confidence. He's got the heart and the track record, having hit arguably the greatest shot in NBA history. He can say that. Where he went off the rails was, one, to say, this is the first time I ever had a teammate who I thought could hit that shot. He was there when LeBron hit the game winner against Chicago in the playoffs. He ran over to LeBron and celebrated like the rest of his teammates. LeBron's hit 5 buzzer beaters in the playoffs, more than any other player in history. And he also goes off the rails where you can't get mad or even aggravated with the media when we respond to what you said. And here's the thing. Don't tell me I never mentioned his name. That's the way the English language works. When I stand on this show and say Michael Jordan is the GOAT, when I say Michael Jordan's the GOAT, I am saying Magic Johnson is not. LeBron James is not. Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, they're not. I don't have to mention their names to be saying that. And so when you have to own it. If you're man enough to say it, you got to be man enough to handle the repercussions. Don't see LeBron later and be like, man, the media, they blew that out of proportion. You said it, Kyrie. I mean, it is what it is. You either have to own it, or you have to apologize and say, you know what, I had a 20-second brain freeze, and I forgot I played with LeBron.
Broussard, if in 5 years I was on a television show with Nate Burleson, and I'm like, it's great to finally have a wide receiver know what he's talking about. I can't then be like, hey, Chris Carter, Brandon Marshall, I wasn't talking about y'all. Of course I'd have been talking about them. I wouldn't have to have mentioned it in order for it to be clear. And we could address the facts on the ground here. The idea, we could show you Kyrie's playoff numbers and LeBron's playoff numbers in these clutch situations because it's obviously a no contest. You have one who's the greatest ever at it and one who has made 2 shots in this category. One of them is, as you mentioned, Broussard, arguably the greatest shot in NBA history. We could talk about the fact that Kyrie, in the years of his career where he was not attached to LeBron James, has a losing record, with multiple variations of teammates, with multiple teams. We could say that if not for LeBron James, Kyrie is just a less interesting Gilbert Arenas without the 29-point-per-game season. We could say all those things, but we don't need to say those things because we all know those things. So here's what I will say, Wilds, and this is where, I might make some people on the show uncomfortable, but it's what everyone's thinking. Kyrie's the most dangerous type of person, a kind of smart guy who thinks he's a genius. He's a 112 IQ who thinks he's a 180. He's the guy who actually has like completed 4.5 credits of philosophy and thinks he's solved the world. He's the guy who has his facts consistently wrong. And when you tell him his facts are wrong, do you know what he says? Do your research. Read something about it. It's like, nah, man, the problem is I have and you haven't. Is I've actually read things and you've scrolled Facebook. The problem is you're listening to chakras and Twitter comments and other people have actually thought about these things. And the worst part of it all, Wilds, is when he's called on it, he runs from it.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, Kyrie, we saw you and KD talking in a hallway. Was it about coming together to play together? How dare you ask that? Can't two friends just talk? Today's media environment is so toxic. I need my auras cleansed. And then Katie on the same podcast is like, hey, bro, remember when we were in that hallway? That's when we decided to pair up together. And then 20 minutes later, he's like, finally, I got a guy who can hit a shot. And then, hey, media, clickbait. Why would you think I'm talking about LeBron? Because you were talking about LeBron, you doofus. And so listen, man, I'm happy for Bradley Beal with a ring. But that's what Kyrie is, and he thinks he's something else, Wilds.
Okay, Bradley Beal with a ring. I'm going to talk a little bit about media, and then I'm going to throw a Dwayne Wade, LeBron alley-oop to you, Broussard. So get ready. Tie your sneakers tight for the one I'm going to throw to you. Okay, Kyrie, I love you, buddy. I really do. Nick is gonna hit you, but I love you. Here's the thing about saying it's clickbait media. The question you were asked, and we didn't play the full thing, was from the host, Eddie, who did an excellent job in the podcast. Can I ask you the cliche question and go viral with it real quick? So that's a sign that you're playing in the viral part. Then, if you're online, they took that clip and made a promo out of it. It wasn't live radio. It was a promotion to get attention. So don't act like we've got so much sports right now. You think we want to talk about the Brooklyn Nets? We got football, I got Chiefs, Patriots, we got finals, we got in baseball. It's the most crowded time ever. And you guys come in with your podcast and you're trying to get attention. Just don't tell me you're not. But Broussard, here it comes. This is why I think a strong leader like Steve Nash and having a coach like that they respect and is obviously the leader of the team, that they will fall perfectly in line and say, you know what, it's Steve's team. He's going to set the course for us. And I think a lot of these outside distractions will go away. What do you think?
Thank you for that alley-oop. My goodness, I windmilled that. All right. I mean, yes, it's scary. Look. The Brooklyn Nets next year will have by far, the best team in the East on paper. They'll be the only one with two real bona fide superstars who've won championships. They got a host of role players from Jarrett Allen to Joe Harris, Spencer Dinwiddie, I mean, they are stacked. But what Kyrie and Kevin Durant signed off on it when he said, hey, Jack Vaughn could be our head coach for a day. This is not good. And they have got to, KD, you see, is not a leader. Kyrie is a stronger personality, and KD kind of signed off on what he said. I think in his mind, KD knows, well, we need a coach. I mean, right? We need a head coach. But he wasn't strong enough to say, hold on, Kyrie, Steve Nash, our head coach. And I don't think either one of them meant it disrespectfully to Nash. But it was disrespectful to Nash to say he's not the head. We don't have a head.